Rusty Thunder subreddit. When going on a cruise with the in laws turns bad, I think I've destroyed my life and marriage. Trigger warning, some violent behavior is included. I'm a 49-year-old female who has been married for 22 years to my husband, who's 59. I'm a 49-year-old female who's been married for 22 years to my husband, who's 59. We'll refer to him as Jim. I have always felt out of place when visiting with his family over the years, almost like they didn't necessarily like me, but my husband always assured me that they did. Over the years, if we were at a family gathering, there would be signs that I wasn't exactly liked by Jim's cousins and sister. I would say something silly that my family would have giggled at. Jim's cousins and sister would always look at me dead-eyed, go quiet, give a smirk, and change the subject. Oh, so we got some Regina George energy coming here. I got it. However, almost every time my sister-in-law, let's call her Sally, would 5 to 10 minutes later say the same exact thing I had just said, their reaction, laughter and glee with what she said. Oh, Sally, you are so funny. And I would sit confused. I had just said that. What the heck? But my husband has always said, maybe it's your delivery. So I'd just mainly talk to Jim's aunt. Let's call her Aunt Sandy. And his mother. His mother has since passed away. Backstory. Remembering back around 16, 17 years ago, our boys were much younger and I was a stay-at-home mom. My husband one day was talking to his cousin, let's call her Jessie, and she had mentioned that she was getting bored while her husband was deployed. So my husband asked me to call her up and ask her out to the movies. I did, and I enjoyed going to the movies once a week for 2 or 3 weeks. I thought all was well until the last time when she brought her daughter. We watched the movie, and as we were preparing to leave, and I said, I'll see you next week, when the bomb was dropped. Her daughter looked at me and said, you know the only reason my mom has come to these movies with you is because of Jim. My heart dropped. Clearly, Jessie didn't want to hurt my feelings, so she brought her daughter to do it instead. We never went to the movies again. Okay, that's messed up. That is straight up messed up. Fast forward to 2023, the ladies of the family had invited me to join them to make crafts at Halloween. The group included Sally, Jessie, a husband of another cousin, Regina. I guess I was definitely getting the right energy here. Catch this. Group included the sister-in-law Sally, hubby's cousin Jessie, hubby's other cousin, let's call her Regina George, and Jessie's sister-in-law, we'll call her Greta, along with a couple of their daughters and Jessie and Regina's mom, Aunt Sandy, whom I adore. I enjoyed the crafting day with them and thought I was finally being accepted into this group. A couple of weeks passed, and Jessie added in a ladies group chat that the Nutcracker Ballet was coming up, and I accepted the invite. In my head, I was moving into a good place with them. I really enjoyed myself and finally felt like I belonged to the group. Now, the cruise. The initial invite was August of 2023 for a 5-day cruise in June of 2024. This invite was before the other invites. This would be my first time on a cruise, but my sister, husband, and mom said this would be a good trip and I will enjoy it. I reluctantly agreed to go, even though in the pit of my stomach, it felt wrong. The group included Sally, Jessie, Regina George, Greta, and of course me. I must add that January 2024, I ended up getting super ill due to a Crohn's flare-up and lost 35 pounds. My intestines, even up to and during the cruise, were a mess. Eating was difficult and I was exhausted all the time. But I pushed forward because I really wanted to grow closer with these ladies. They knew about the illness, so that wasn't a shock, nor did it cause any issues with the plans of the trip. I was able to keep up and went back to the room a few times to nap during the trip. Our first day on the cruise was pleasant and I allowed myself to breathe it all in. The chandeliers, the ocean, the buffets, the people, it was nice. A breath of fresh air to calm me. I ended up finding out I suffer from seasickness, so I was taking 1 Dramamine 2 times a day, wore C-bands, and wearing a patch Greta gave me a few days into the trip. I shared a room with Jessie and Greta. When we entered our room, I started by pulling out the poopery and soap I had brought and put them on the lowest shelf in the bathroom for us to share. Then I waited for them to unload their things in the bathroom because I didn't even care which of the now 7 shelves left were mine to use. They complete putting their personals into the bathroom, and I wanted to put my toiletry bag in the bathroom. I only had one, so I walk in and stop, confused, because I see they have literally taken every single shelf, minus the shelf with the soap. So I walk back into the room and put my toiletry bag into the top drawer next to the large mirror in the room. I sat down as they filled the closets with their things. We went on with the evening and enjoyed the night. We continued through the day and the next day without much happening. Then the big thing happened. I believe it was Monday evening. We started the evening with a comedy show with a male comic. It was all good and well until he started picking on this young, beautiful, early 20-something, very large chested woman. She was sitting next to her, what I assumed to be her mother. She wore a blouse that covered her chest completely, so it wasn't showing even the crest of the top of her breasts. The comic, however, focused only on them, saying vulgar things, telling a set of male twins at the table in front of her that they should do things to her because of the large breasts. It broke my heart that he was picking on this girl who, for what seemed like forever. I have seen firsthand how young girls are tortured due to having large airbags. After the show, we walked to the 70s nightclub and walk in as it had just opened and it was still empty. I was feeling good that day. My intestines were feeling good, so I was dancing. The music was loud and the lights low with a disco ball for ambiance. Sally, Jesse, Regina, and I go to the dance floor as Greta sat at the bar overlooking the dance floor and start to dance. After a song or two, I look up and see the young lady walk into the nightclub with her mom, who seems to be walking slower. The mom sits down and the young lady is standing there moving a little to the music. I could tell she wanted to dance, and I have always been taught kindness and love for everyone. I just had to ask her to dance. I walked over and did just that. She followed me back to the dance floor and I introduced myself and quickly over the music yelled the names of the other ladies. Everything was good as we danced for 3 or 4 songs. It could have been more, but I'm not certain. I looked at the young lady smiling and making sure she was enjoying herself, almost like a mama bird. Then Regina, who was standing to the left of me, grabs my head and pushes it down and forward, pulling some of my hair as she pulls back her hand. I jump back, trying not to fall, and yell, "What the hell, Regina?" I was shocked. I was stunned as I see the young girl rush away from the dance floor. Oh, hell no. So your sister-in-law or cousin decided to put hands on you? I'm just going to say you're a much kinder person than me. You put hands on me? I don't get even, I get ahead. So whatever you've done to me, you're going to get that to the power of, well, it just depends on how much of an asshole you've been. So, for clarification, I was dancing close to a wall. No one could be behind me as the nightclub was not full yet and there were only 10 other people on the dance floor. I walked quickly off the dance floor and looked for a seat close to Greta, but they were all taken, so I turn around and go sit at the bar and order a bottled water from the bartender. Shaking and upset, sat there and drank my water. I was trying my hardest not to cry. I replayed that moment over and over in my head. Why did she do that? What did I do? While mulling over the event, a guy appears beside me. He was waiting for the bartender, who by this time was super busy. The guy yelling over the music said hi. I wasn't in the mood to talk really, but I said hi. He then asked me something like, "Do you recommend a fruity drink?" I said something like, "I don't drink, so I wouldn't know." He said something like,